Hey, it's your CEO, Weekend Gabe, and thanks for watching Weekend at Gabe's. We hope that you enjoyed this latest episode. While you're here, hit the subscribe button and follow us on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Our Thursday Funnies, we have one of the most funniest writers, stand-up comedians. He blessed the city of Chicago with his latest special household name last summer here, or this past summer here in Chicago. It is a pleasure to introduce Niles Abston onto Weekend at Gabe's. How are you?
What's up?
Good, man. Man, you've been like super busy, man. You did your new special. You're writing for Dave, one of the biggest shows on FX on cable TV. You wrote and did a comedy album a couple years ago, right before the pandemic. You're on. You've gone viral for multiple different clips, man. Like you're living the dream. But I feel like throughout all this and watching the new special, it feels like there's something missing, like your own TV show. Is it missing?
Man, that you preaching to the choir, bro. Yeah, I need a show, a movie, something. This right here ain't cutting it. This
but it seems like, and it's so great to watch listen to Girls Don't Twerk. I was listening to it today, and there's that great interlude of you talking about how the struggle of being an up and coming comedian and really staying true to plan A. I hope you can still hear us. Staying true to. Okay, how you talk about staying true to plan A and not falling back to a plan B, and how important that was for you to go through that struggle. Talk a little bit about like kind of what that build is to go through that grind and then to get to this place where you're at now.
I think it's all about kind of visualizing where you want to be. Or like I say this to like people like all the time, like. The me you see now is what I visualized 5 years ago.
Right.
So this, when I was living in my car, this Niles right here is what I was seeing. And so now I'm focused on who I'm going to be 5 years from now. So like now everybody gets to see like what was this crazy dude living in this car talking about. It's what I'm doing right now. And then in 5 years, you get to see what's in my head now. So it's fun in a way, but it's still just like, it's a constant struggle and fight. Every day, because this shit is not easy, and it's like it's not supposed to be, because if it was easy then everybody could do it. So it's like doing all the complaining and shit at the end of the day doesn't really do anything. Anybody can do that. So but you just got to channel that into what you do, what you're working on, and that's kind of applicable to really anything.
Right.
Yeah. You talk about your 5-year plan there, but a lot of people don't get to even the writer's room. A lot of the comedians we talk to don't even get there. So what is the path from writer's room to your own show without giving too much of your game plan away?
I mean, it really is just like, there's not really a plan. It's really, you just got to, you keep doing what you've already done, but taking it to a higher level, which is like, I tell people, my plan when I put out Girls on Torture Jokes 4 years into doing stand-up was I wanted a writing job on TV. Like that's what I moved to LA for. I moved here to be a writer on TV. So technically I did what I moved out here to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I put that special out for. And it took a while, but literally like 1.5 to 2 years after it being out. Let's see. I put it out May 2020 and I got hired on Dave April 2022. So a little less than 2 years later, I got to write on a show and I had a really good time, and they're actually shooting my episode as we speak right now. So I've been on set the last couple of days checking it out. It's been really cool to watch it happen. But, and so I was like, okay, well that worked. Now I need to keep doing what I've been doing and take it to the next level. So I feel like I did that with this new special. I feel like everything that worked on the first one, I did it better on this one. I wanted every joke on the new special. It could have been the best joke on the first one. And that's kind of how I went into it.
Well, on the new special, let's get into that a little bit. You open up with like this animation. It's about
Yeah.
10 minutes of you like getting caught up in sort of this matrix or multiverse, whatever it is, while
Yeah.
while you're trying to score, but then something pulls you away into the monster behind the producer that owns the TV piloting rights or whatever.
Yeah.
Like talk about like sort of your fandom for animation and why that was important to like include that as the opening sort of presence of your comedy special.
Well, I love Pixar movies, man. Like my top Pixar movies are like The Incredibles, Monsters Inc., Toy Story, Bugs Life, all that shit, you know. And I like how in Pixar they'll play like a little animated short before the actual movie you came to see. And so I was like, I want to do it. I remember watching that like a little over a year ago, and I was like, damn, I want to do that on my next one. And so yeah, so that's the reason I did it. And I've just always been a big fan of cartoons. I've always wanted my own animated TV show where I played myself. And so I have an idea for a show, and I just kind of felt it's so weird and crazy that it'd be hard to pitch. So I was like, why not make it? So now I have like this kind of like piece of art that's like, if somebody was like, well, what do you want to do with that? I have the whole show kind of planned out that I would like to do like a spinoff of that little short film. But now I can always say I at least made it, you know, even if I never make the show of it, I at least have that short film where I did take a crack at it, you know.
Absolutely.
In one of your earlier specials, not to take it to a dark place here, but in one of your earlier specials, you walk out to Kanye's "Can't Tell Me Nothing," which is a great song of mine.
I did. When I walked out to that,
I believe it was on YouTube.
Nah, I haven't walked out to that song where it's been taped.
Word.
Nah, the song I walked to on my first special is a song by my rapper friend Deuce Flame. It's called Black Tea.
Word. All right, that torpedoes the question then.
What's the question?
No, I was just gonna ask, like, you know, if all this crazy stuff going on around Ye right now, is you still as much of a fan as you was back then? But maybe you're not a fan.
No.
So I'm not.
No, fuck him.
And then there's like the reason I bring that up is like there's this like debate around free speech and comedy. One of my favorite comedians is like Dave Chappelle. And just this week we've seen him come out on stage to Elon Musk to great boos and all this shit. But he also makes these great points. You know, his speech on SNL the other day was great. So I guess I was just like wondering,
was it great or was it funny?
That's a fair point. I would say
it was funny.
It was funny. Great. Work. So I guess that's the point. Is like we're hearing comedy. We're getting these like two sides of the story. Where like some people are cramping down this free speech. It's harder to do what we do. And then other people are like, yo, it's fair game. Everything is fair game. You can just don't get canceled, right? Like, where do you fall on that spectrum as far as like stand up?
I do think it's harder to do comedy these days, but I don't think it's for the reasons these famous comedians are saying it, because obviously they're doing great. If you're able to even bring somebody out on stage at a sold out Chase Center show, comedy ain't hard for you to do. Like, you're doing great. The people I know who are hilarious and living in their cars and living on couches and shit, comedy's hard for them, because I think now it's harder than ever to be a comedian. Like, things are more accessible because of the internet and things like that, but that also means like there's a lot of saturation when it comes to comedy.
Sure.
A lot of things are like set in based on algorithms, and like there's studies and things have been proven that certain algorithms on the internet are racist. So everybody's not on the same playing field with that. And then even with the industry, like it's less money to go around now. It's less money in stand up these days because specials are going to these guys that are making $20 million. So it's just like 15 years ago, a new young comedian got a comedy special to show everybody who they were and to introduce them. Now you got to make your own special and do all this other shit to maybe even get a chance to get in. So like, stand-up comedy is very hard and it's hard to get into, but it's not because like, they won't let me say these words. That ain't hard. So I disagree with the Chappelles and the famous comedians right now complaining, I can't say this, but they seem to keep saying the stuff. So I don't really know who's telling them they can't say it. So
Speaking of hard, I can't imagine that it was very easy for you to tell your lawyer father and English professor mother that, hey, I'm going to sidestep all the wonderful careers that you guys have established and
Yeah.
go into this very unpredictable career of entertainment. When did that sort of first pop its head up, and what was sort of the early responses from your parents?
I was going to college. I was running track, and I got hurt, and I got surgery on my hip at 19, and things did not heal back the way it was supposed to. And I'll be real, like being in college and not being an athlete is not as fun as being an athlete in college.
I can imagine.
I don't want to do this shit anymore. But at 19, I just kind of decided I wanted to write movies. I just thought I think that would be the cool thing to do. And so I looked into some things, and obviously, if you want to write movies, you move to Hollywood, right? And so I talked to a friend who was going to school with me at the time. She was in the film school program. She was really cool, and so she told me about this kind of like film program / internship thing that was in LA, and it was like dual credit for school. So like you get credit for school, and so I realized like, oh well, that could be my play. So I could move to LA and still technically get credit for college, and my parents are on trip. And then when it's over, I can just stay out there because I would have been out there. So that's what I did. I went and I did this program for I moved there January 2016. I was 20 years old. I moved out here to LA and they had housing for the program. So I had a place to stay. And so I lived out here and did that for, let's see, what's the semester? So it was like January to like June, basically, May to June. And once it was over, I told my parents, like, I think I'm going to just stay in LA and I'm going to drop out. And they were not happy about that. But I was 20 years old and I just had this plan that I had to go do and write movies and all this kind of thing. And then I had written like a short story, and that same friend that had told me to do the little film thing, she told me, yo, you should like try stand up. And I didn't know you could just try stand up. I didn't know that was a thing. You know, like my favorite comedians are like Cat Williams and Chris Rock and Bernie Mac, and so like Richard Pryor, and I thought they were just up there just like talking. I thought they were just the funniest people in the world, and they were just talking. I didn't know you go to somewhere and you practice and you have a set and you pick the jokes and all this kind of stuff. I didn't know that, and so so I started going to open mics like right when I turned 21, like summer 2016. Yeah, I started going to open mics and just kind of caught the bug. I was really bad, but I really liked doing it. And like, I just thought the people were just so interesting. I was like, I got to stay around this shit. And I was really just doing it as a writing exercise. And then things started kind of working out in the stand-up world.
What does that initial conversation look like when things start working out? Because obviously there's a lot of failure. You said you were really bad at first. Does like somebody just approach you on a good night? You had this incredible story about like talking to girls after the show, being like, "Is this what it's like every night?"
Yeah,
but
sure. I think that's kind of like, you kind of know, like when it starts clicking, you can feel it. But then when people start coming up to you and telling you like, "Man, I really enjoyed that," or "I like this," or "Hey, I want to fuck you," like that's just like you know, like you're doing something right. So yeah.
Do you think, does this almost seem like the attention that you're getting as a D1 athlete, that this is like supplanting it?
So much better. This is so much. I mean, I get attention and I say whatever the fuck I want to as long as it's funny. Oh man. Oh dude, like being an athlete was like, we all got to wear this same thing. You got to sit on a bus for 12 hours on these road trips. And like, I remember things would happen at the school and the coach would be like, don't post about this. And you get waking up like at 3 a.m. to get NCAA drug testing and all this kind of stuff. I couldn't even, my first 2 years in college, I didn't smoke any weed because I was scared to get drug tests in the NCAA. So, I mean, yeah, this is way better.
Being from Mississippi, people might think like there's not a lot about Mississippi that's funny. Like it's always the highest in like illiteracy and poverty. You're like, damn, like what is funny about Mississippi?
People? What is it? I don't understand why everybody in Mississippi could be comedians. We the dumbest state, the fattest state, the poorest state, and the blackest state. That's all the shit that's funny. Being black, being broke, being fat, being sick, like all that shit is funny. So it's just like when people are like, "You're so funny," I'm like, dude, it's just where I'm from, man. Like this is how we just talk. Like I'll say something and people laugh. I'm like, that's just how we talk. That's not even a joke. Like being from Mississippi is like being from a different universe. Like it's really hard to explain. That's why I really want to try to bring it to the world on film. You know what I'm saying? Just to show like how crazy Mississippi is. Like we got some characters, bro. We
Are
got
we
some
talking? Are we talking alligator in the apartment type characters? Down
yeah,
there?
yeah, for sure. Nah, like for sure, definitely stuff like that. We got some crazy people where I'm from.
Word. You've had a little bit of the taste of the comedy scene in both LA and New York City. Is there like a crowd that you prefer? You know, I like you said it's like pretty easy because like you know the jokes. You are the comedy, but like, is there crowds that you prefer as far as like LA or scenes that you prefer as far as New York?
Oh yeah, I mean, I prefer to perform in New York for sure. That's
Straight up.
that's just I'd say Chicago is my favorite place to perform, but like as far as just performing on like a consistent basis for weeks, months, and a year, like I'd pick New York, man. Like those are the best audiences in the world because like you got everybody, like it's everybody of everything lives in New York, and so like and they just have so many rooms to perform in, and like people actually come out and support, and that's because the city's just like it's more accessible than most cities, so it's just like anybody can be out late. Not a lot of people are driving and all that kind of stuff, so it's like it's pretty cool just to see who comes to these shows and that kind of thing, and especially like you doing comedy to like 1-2 in the morning and like people are still there and engaged. Like that shit's so cool.
Well, what about you being from Mississippi? People obviously think that there like maybe there's like one power station that generates the state. There's so minimal resources, and then you to be exposed to LA and to New York to Chicago. Was there ever like sort of a culture shock moment? You're like, fuck, like I had no idea. Like you were kind of saying like as far as like the comedy thing, like I didn't even know that was a thing that you could just do. Like, is there other moments where it just like sort of just blew your mind? You're like, wow, people actually live like this?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm still, especially like now, just like being in the industry and stuff, I'm still experiencing culture shock because it's just like like the people in Mississippi, like my parents like do well, like I'm like, man, these people got money in Mississippi. Then you come here and it's like, nah, those people are like lower middle class. Like people in LA are just doing it crazy, man. Like it's definitely it's a different world. So like when I first kind of moved here and really saw what Beverly Hills and like Hollywood and Baldwin Hills, like these places, these nice houses, and like people that are always just like dressed super nice and stuff. Like it was kind of crazy to see because like in the South, like people only dress nice like to go to church on Sunday. So like to see how like a lot of these people like with the clothes they wear every day and just like the expensive, and then like LA is also the place where like everybody who's rich, their kid comes and lives here. So like when they graduate high school or they drop out of college or whatever and they're in their 20s or whatever and they just trying to like pop on Instagram or whatever, they take their parents' money and get an apartment out here. So it's just like everybody, like all the nepotism babies, all the socialites, all the rich kids move here for a reason because it's just so nice.
Is that what makes LA less funny than New York? Or
I mean, definitely. I mean, and it's like and like there's different parts of LA. So like South LA isn't kind of what people think is LA. Like they think of Hollywood, like Inglewood, South LA, that kind of thing is way different. Like that has its own culture and how the people do their thing out here. But when you're doing shows in like the Hollywood proper area or like West LA, that kind of thing, there's definitely kind of like the way the audience reacts to it is just kind of like, well, we know how the sausage is made. I got a friend that's a comedian, or I know comedy, or I know TV, right. This kind of thing. Like everybody out here is an artist of some sort almost. So it's just like people are kind of sitting with their arms crossed like this, like, well, like you can't impress me until you really do. So it's definitely kind of a different energy. Like, I feel like I don't really have that problem anymore because I just gotten good at this shit. But it's just like like performing here and then like when I headlined in Wilmington, North Carolina is way different. Like the people in Wilmington were just so like appreciative that I was just even there. Whereas like LA is just kind of like I can go see a bigger comedian than you down the street if I want to,
Facts. So and the cover's only $15,
Right. It's different, but it's still, I feel like I started out here and I tell people not to. But I mean, if you can survive and do stand up out here, you're pretty good.
Yeah. Talk about like I think I read somewhere like you didn't want to be if you couldn't be a comedian, you'd rather be a rapper. or something to that. And then, you write for Dave, and then you also incorporate like music and hip hop into your sets, like talking about the Bobby Schmurder, and you like name dropping and in the raps. Like, but really, like, do you have any inkling or desire to like dip your toe into hip hop at all, or do like a almost like a CB4 type, take on hip
CB4
hop?
movie, man. That's a good movie. I love that movie. I don't have any I don't have any want to like I don't want to rap, but I love being around the music industry. That's why I like writing for like a show like Dave is so fun. Because you're kind of like making a TV show about the music industry in a way. And then I manage an artist, the rapper I was talking about earlier that did the intro for my first special, Deuce Flame. I'm his manager. So like I like being a part of the music industry and kind of like seeing how things are made and helping things get made. But performing, nah, I just love music so much. So I just like being around it.
Word. Really quick, take us into the writing process for Dave, because we've had some people who write for reality TV, more so just like the frequency. We had Skyler Higley from The Onion on. He was like, they're making 20 headlines a week. I got to pitch 20 ideas a meeting, and then he goes to Conan and it's like, yeah, maybe pitch 3 things. Like, what does the writing room look like for a show like Dave?
I feel like the writers' room for Dave is a lot different than most shows. Because like in a way, like Dave didn't come up in TV, he came up in rap. So he's like new, he's starring in a TV show and still new to the TV industry in a way, which is so cool. So he really likes for the process to be really collaborative. So like the way we broke the episodes and came up with the stories, they kind of just all kind of started like as conversations, just sitting in the room, kind of as conversations. And then like, he's the main character, so he can kind of see where he fits in that conversation. And then from there, what's the point of view from the character there? Then that's how we kind of build the story. Whereas like I know a lot of rooms, it's like it's a whiteboard and they're like, we got this idea, and this idea. How do we make them work and put them all together? Whereas like our show is just very much like, what would you do in this situation? And let's figure out the story from there. So like it takes a little longer to come up with the episodes like that, but it's really rewarding when they're finished because it's like, man, we really saw this from like the beginning stage to now. So yeah, it's a real like conversational room. And then kind of like when one thing picks up, we kind of like, all right, this is the thing we all like. Let's ride with this. Mm-hmm. And then like maybe after a couple of days, we probably have an episode like idea put together.
Right. Oh wait, go ahead, Gabe.
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, is there any episode of Dave that incorporates your own experience? Either
that question. Like, does the managing of the artist like become a part of the story sometimes? Does it ever hit?
The thing is, I didn't start managing Deuce till after the show. So after I finished.
Oh, word.
So this has only been like a couple months thing. But there's definitely things because I tour as a comedian and and I have fans and things like that. So there is definitely like things that I could spotlight and offer that like maybe a lot of some of the writers didn't really know what that experience is like traveling to go do a show and performing. So like we do different things, but we still have like similarities and like how these things happen and stuff like that. So I was able to kind of offer some jokes with that and stuff like that. So that'll be cool.
And not to wind the clocks all the way back when we're approaching the back end of here, but it's been 3 years since Girls Don't Tell Jokes. How do you reflect, Girls Don't Twerk to Jokes. How do you reflect on like how far you've come in those 3 years, like from a room to traveling and doing all the things that you do?
It's crazy, man. Like it's crazy. Like to put it out, to get a TV writing job and for that to happen is crazy. And then it's like I wasn't really getting booked like that out here before putting that out. LA is a very hard place to get stage time, especially if you're not a white comedian. It's tough. Like things are just so, comedy is very segregated in a lot of big markets. And so like I tell people like the week I did Girls Don't Twerk to Jokes, when I taped that, I didn't even get up that week. I couldn't get on a show to like practice. Like I couldn't get on a real show. So I just didn't even perform that whole entire week until that night. And so it's just crazy how things have completely changed in that aspect because like the show was completely free. It was at my friend's house and we were basically just like, yo, we're gonna have free liquor. Come watch this special taping. And like, we packed the house out and it was free. So to do something like that free and then within the time go on 2 tours and do another taping in a whole different city and be able to charge people and then sell it out twice because I did 2 shows that night. That was it just showed the growth because it's just like 3 years ago I would never even think about charging people to come see me, and now it's like something I really have to think about and figure out and things like that. But yeah, it's crazy because like I felt like some people's critique on Girls Are Torture Jokes was like, oh, he was in LA, he lives there. It's probably a lot of his friends in the room, which also isn't true. There was a lot of people I did not know that were there. But like to do that and to go to Chicago where I don't know anybody but like 3-4 comedians, sell the room out twice and then tape a better special felt really good because now people can't be like, oh, it was just his friends. And they're like, most of my friends saw the special until the day it came out. So like they didn't get to be there for the show or anything like that. So I was kind of out there by myself. So it was just it was fun to just kind of see how things have changed since. So hopefully some cooler opportunities will come with this one, just like the first one, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you name it household name. Do you feel like, do you feel in your heart that you're becoming a household name in the comedy, space? Like
Absolutely
you're being talked about? No.
No, it's a joke. Yeah, I don't think I'm a household name at any rate. It's a joke because like the first special I shot in a house, so in that house I'm a household name. And then also it's just kind of like a play on like kind of what the industry looks like now. It's like there aren't really any household names in comedy anymore. If they are, they've always been one, or it's just like it's the way comedy works now. Everything's just so spread out, and it's just like when Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle and Dave Attell and all these greats, when they were coming up, there was no internet to compete with. And so it's just like, who knows what Chris Rock's comedy would be like if he also had to compete with some dude getting famous in his bedroom from just making sketches on his phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like stand-up comedians now, we have to deal with way more shit than they did. Like if I only had to just be good at stand-up, I wonder how good I actually could be. But I have to make TikToks, I gotta tweet, I gotta make short films and write and do all these different things and edit and produce, and you basically have to be a one-man production company to even have a shot out here. You can't just be good at stand-up. Nobody gives a fuck. So it's like it's way different. So yeah, it was just kind of a play on that. Like I'll probably never be a household name. Like it's just not really possible anymore.
So. Nah, man, it's coming for you. Even if it's behind the scenes. You got something, bro. Yeah, you go. I pray that there's a moment where you're like, damn, household name, full circle.
Hey, maybe. I hope so. That'd be cool.
I want to get. Gabe, you got
no. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Sam.
I just wanted to get into.
Y'all got time, man. I'm not in a rush. Y'all got time.
All right, word. I just wanted to get into some fun questions. One of my favorite jokes was the Burger King joke. Where the crib comes up on you at Burger King. And we like to have some fun questions on the show that are just sort of out of left field. But what's your Burger King order, man? Like, what are you ordering there?
Burger King. I haven't been to Burger King in so long.
It's literally a Burger King next door to my house.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you order there? Like, I look at it and I'm like, I'm hungry, but I ain't going there.
Yeah. I don't go to Burger King much. The only reason I was at that Burger King is there's an open mic down the street.
Always working.
That shit happened to me. And then I walked up to the open mic and I told the story. And that was the first time I did it. It was right there. I just told the story. And just me telling the story and everybody laughing. And I was like, all right, we got to turn this into something. So who would have thought 4 or 5 years later, it's like this huge thing that goes viral. And like a lot of people know me from that. Like people that don't know my stuff will be like, yo, you did the Burger King joke. Like that happened to me a lot, like over this past year. So that's funny. But yeah, I guess a Whopper. I don't know. I don't eat it. I'm a McDonald's guy.
Yeah.
I was just at Burger King today, so I go there more than I should probably admit to. All right, what is your fascination with Helen Keller? Why does she catch so many strays in your specials? Well, why do you keep aiming for her? Like she's been dead like 100 years. Like what else?
Have I done it more than once?
I don't know. But apparently, according to you and your mom, like she's telling you to chill, and you're
Yeah.
I'm 20 years into this. Ain't no letting up.
Yeah, no. Well, I was like, I'm 27, so like, I grew up in like the 2000s in elementary and middle school, where like dumb boys, that's what you did. You made Helen Keller jokes. You used to do those jokes about like, yo, did you see that shit the other day? Like, no, I didn't see it. Like, yeah, neither did Helen Keller. Like
Yeah.
that's the era I came up in. And so that was just kind of an homage to middle school me. Like, can you do a Helen Keller joke on your special?
That knocked a really dusty memory loose in my brain, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
everybody was
man.
doing Helen Keller jokes 15
Oh my
years
God.
ago. And so I was just like, how can I do something? How can I do this bit that's a long bit and it turns into a Helen Keller joke somehow that nobody sees coming, and it be funny? Because like that's the thing. It's like Helen Keller jokes are hacky now, of course. So I just wanted to figure out how can I make a Helen Keller joke that's still gonna make people laugh in 2022, and I think I did it. So
yeah. Well, really quick, the one thing that I thought was funny that I never heard was that you were like, yeah, there's this conspiracy that she just made up. Like someone just made her up. No, I never heard that at all.
Oh yeah, that Helen Keller's made. Wait, hold on. I think we might, as a group, need to dive in here because I might partially believe this. Hold on.
I don't believe it.
Hang on, because I didn't believe either, right? And then she wrote 14 books.
Well, she might have had a little help.
Hold on. She wrote like fiction novels. And then beyond that, she wrote about like animals. She got a whole book about giraffes. What the fuck does she know about a giraffe? That's all I'm like really trying to say here.
You can know about it without seeing it.
Are you knowledgeable enough to write a book though?
You know what I mean? Like,
hey man, I don't know. I just read something where she might not have been real, but people say it's anything about Shakespeare. Apparently, he might not have been real.
Right? So no, but it's not. It's less so that I believe she existed. I just think we're exaggerating. She flew a plane? Hell nah. Like, bro, she flew a plane.
Oh wow! I
need video of that.
I wish I was making this up. Like, this is real. Like,
yeah, there's some Brian Williams. Like I was there when Pac got shot. I was there when the Wright brothers took off. Yeah, I was there for all that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get on board with her flying a plane. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just like it's not that she didn't exist. It's just that didn't happen for sure. Yeah. No, but you know,
hey, you never know. Crazier things have happened.
Anyways, on to a more random topic. Me and you both share a love of Jaden Smith.
Love him.
Why do we love Jaden Smith so much? Like, why is he so good?
Jaden Smith is like, he's the black nepotism kid, man. He's like the first one we really got to see like that. You know what I'm saying? Like in a positive light. Like all these white nepotism kids, like Uma Thurman's daughter is a movie star all of a sudden, and like all these white Hollywood people, their kids are like taking over everything. And so like Jaden Smith was kind of like this, like, yo, we got one too, but he's like doesn't want to be a part of any of that shit. He just like wants to just hang out and feed homeless people and say weird shit. And I think he's like the coolest, like just enlightened person ever. And like he just makes music if he feels like it. And it's like you just drop a banger because you just felt like it. Like that's crazy, you know. I'd love to meet him and just like pick his brain one day. Like, you weird, nigga. Like, what is wrong with you? I think he's amazing. I want to meet him.
Do you have on that topic? Do you have a celebrity encounter that like either in LA or New York that like was crazy like that you actually got to like sit and talk to somebody?
Yeah. Y'all know the old sitcom Martin?
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Well, Gina, Tisha Campbell. One night, me and some friends, we went to this place called the Soho House, and she happened to we were in the elevator with this one actress, I forget her name, but she wasn't like famous, popular yet. She's still kind of like maybe B-list, C-list actress, but like she had been in a couple things at this time, so like we didn't really recognize her at all. So we were just like talking to her, and then she was like, "Hey," we were in the elevator talking to her. She was like, "Hey, my friend she's waiting on me. Y'all just want to sit with us and like hang out?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." So like we go and sit, and her friend is fucking Tisha Campbell from Mark. And I have to sit here and act like, yo, I haven't been a fan of you since I've been a child. And it was Cinco de Mayo, so she just started buying tequila shots, and we drank with Tisha Campbell and just had a good time. She was so fun and so nice, and she was just really cool. And she paid for all the drinks. She was really cool.
Yo, that's
a
great.
come up.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, what I was, I think it was, you did the joke about the giving up the HBO Go, right? The HBO Max subscription. Yeah. All right, so are we still sharing subscriptions with people, Niles? Yeah. Are we still in that game?
I have to. Yeah, I split HBO with me and my sister split HBO Max right now. But yeah, I use my friend's Hulu. Man, we gotta help each other out, man.
You got to use your friend's Hulu to watch your own show, which I find
crazy?
Amazing.
Ain't that crazy?
All right, one last fun one for me. You had a lot of jokes about, like, you know, the church in Mississippi, all that stuff, and I feel like comedy is a lot like giving a sermon. But if you had to give a sermon, what would be the topic?
I don't know. I preached when I was 8.
Right.
In church. I don't know what my sermon would be. What, all of this is bullshit and they lying to you? Like, I guess
maybe or maybe just go out there and do a really tight half hour. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's when I was 8. I had to do a 30-minute. I had to do a 30-minute thing.
Wow,
preaching.
That's tough. That's
tough.
It
was crazy. I cried before. I was like, I don't want to do this, and my mom was like, you already told them you would do it. So yeah, I did it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it would just be like, hey man, love everybody. I guess.
Everybody loves everybody. The Jackie Moon special. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Do you remember working the room, like carrying the mic, like back and forth, like, you know?
I have blocked out all of that trauma, so I don't remember.
All right. Before we get out of here, Niles, we're at the end of 2022. You obviously are very successful in the eyes of Weekend at Gabe's and the work that you've done, despite
household name at Weekend at Gabe's.
Exactly. Despite some of your own feelings that you could be doing more, I think you're doing a lot. But what is the highlight, or what is the thing about 2022 that sticks out of your mind as something that you will never forget?
My festival. I put on a festival called Basement Fest. I did the first one in New York for my birthday weekend. And then I did a part 2 in LA back in September. And like we pulled, like me and my friend Kate, who's my producer on it, we pulled off 2 sold out, really fun comedy and music festivals within 7 months. And like, wow. Like that's just crazy. And like I was able to, like, you know, pay all my friends and like have them perform and all this kind of shit. It was beautiful to watch, and it felt good to pull off. And so like those 2 will definitely be the highlights of my year.
Wonderful. And then what is your New Year's resolution? Do you do any of that?
No, this is my first year. I'm not writing down no goals, none of that shit. I'm gonna just see what happens.
Not even figure out what's on the Burger King menu?
Nope.
Damn. All right. Niles, thank you so much for joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's for Thursday Thunnies. Go check out his new special on his YouTube channel, Ballsy, by the way, to put it out on your own channel instead of trying to, you know, sell it to Comedy Central or whatever. Yeah, household name.
You mean try? They don't want that.
I mean, but you have a relationship with them. I figured it would have been like a no-brainer, you know?
There ain't no relationship. They paid me to do 8 minutes, bro. There ain't no relationship. Like everybody being like, man, like you just put it out there independent and for free. Like, man, I salute you. You think I wanted to do that shit? Y'all see my room, nigga? You think I want to live here? No.
I was like, yo, Niles on his Master P independent. Fuck y'all. Fuck the labels. He's like, I want the deal.
Netflix. I want to be on HBO. They wouldn't let my ass be on that shit. So I had to put it out. I wasn't just gonna sit on an hour of jokes. I just put it out. Yeah, I don't want to do this independent shit. I hate this shit.
Well, either way, head to his YouTube and run those numbers up so that this will incite them to put you on HBO or Comedy Central or wherever. So we need to support you in that way to get you to that next level that you so hope to achieve.
I appreciate that.
All right, Niles. Thanks for joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's for our Thursday Thunnies. Appreciate you, sir.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, Niles Abston, man, I love it. I love his drive. I love his spirit. You know, his honesty. It's very authentic and genuine. I think something we haven't really seen from our comedy guests.
He's so incredible, and he's doing so many things. I love the one man production team thing, and he's so right, man. Like it's there are big things coming for Niles Abston in 2023 and
Big facts.
beyond. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Thanks for watching this latest episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you're looking for more, click on any of the episodes swirling around my head. And also, don't forget to follow us on the socials at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. All right, thanks for watching, y'all.